Hello, welcome to the Peter Repeater, episode 38, a cup of tea in hand. This is the daily update of my life and stuff. Just trying to keep the content coming, keep it all happening, keep everything everything up and running and good. And I'm hoping that I can focus on life and be contented and everything. So that's what I'm planning on this during these Corona times. Joe Rogan mentions that people keep on talking about sorry about this. Yeah, better get comfy. Anyway, Joe Rogan keeps on mentioning that people keep on talking about the Corona times, and because they just come into the studio and have something to talk about. I should really just make do with. Did I just? I really. This is, the level of professionalism in this podcast here is not great. Just me shoving around the tripod with my feet to try and get in the center of the screen, and I'm like making noises. Anyway, so podcast is good. Trying to keep that up and running, trying to keep things chilled, and I'm happy with that. And it's just a good life I live, really. I just hope that I can continue living it and make the most out of every moment, really. And this Corona times, we're just at home here, just chilling out and trying to make the most of it, really. And I found this great program. So one of my favourite podcasts recently, probably maybe 3 weeks ago or something, Duncan Trussell and Joe Rogan. That was such a good podcast. It was conspiracies and everything, and then Duncan came on the podcast again, and then he mentioned he's got this Netflix program, and I was like, I'm watching that straight away because I've seen the preview, didn't realise it was on Netflix, and I was watching that first episode. It's like Rick and Morty level. I haven't got the Rick and Morty t-shirt, but just think Rick and Morty. It's just amazing. It's just there's this guy in this simulated world with loads of people watching, and no one's watching. It's a simulation apocalyptic world, and then he interviews just some random guy as part of his as part of his like a video cast to the to the world, like YouTube, like a podcast, but he goes to the simulated world and like interviews somebody in person in the simulation, and like he picked somebody with good charisma, and he was like interviewing this president of this zombie apocalyptic world. It's just so good. The first episode is called, I can't believe I'm advertising this on my channel, my audience can pick up on it, but it's called the midnight, I don't know, the midnight, forgotten it, the Midnight Gospel, that's what it's called. Yeah, so that program on Netflix, the Midnight Gospel, is just these two people just in a simulated, like everything's falling apart around them. The animation's great. It's got Duncan Trussell, and I feel like Joe Rogan just like setting this up here. But yeah, it's just an incredible situation happening, and things are quite fun. So I'm just watching this program is great, and then they just talk about the most random things, just and interesting, and really interesting, like podcasts are, obviously. It just it's just I watch podcasts and they're really interesting, and other people watch them like, what's going on, nothing's happening. But yeah, I quite like it. So yeah, it was talking about the podcast setup and he's just talking about like marijuana, legalization of marijuana, and it's just like this completely different simulated world in this zombie apocalypse, and they're just talking about this legalization of marijuana, and they're saying things like drugs aren't good or bad, they just like depends on the circumstance and how you use them. And it's just so funny. And he's just talking about this one, and it's just like genuine. They got it from like a real podcast, and then they've just put animation on it. Oh, it's a great show. Highly rated, and I rate it too. Give it my seal of approval, whatever that means. Yeah, so it's just it's just a different situation. Oh, it's such a good program. I love it. Midnight Gospel on Netflix. So good. And then it's just I won't ruin it, but it's just so funny. Just some bits of it are so funny. So so basically there's different things happening in my life, corona times, and there's a good TV program comes up now and again, and then you watch it, and then back to podcasts. Podcasts are just the best. I just love them. I found myself like earlier on in the year just watching something, and I just wasn't quite entertained, or wasn't quite interested enough, and it just wasn't great. So I just thought, I just don't know what I was missing in life. Just watching some medieval drama like The Last Kingdom. What will he do? Will he kill this person, or will he kill the other person? Dun, 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 dun. The Last Kingdom. I was just stuff like that. It's just not very it's good for some people, but it's not ideal for everyone. So I just stuck in a program with like my family, like what's happening, like I don't want to watch this, and then I'm thinking, there's like 35 minutes left, and I'm just counting down the minutes, and that wasn't a good way to be. So now I'm just stuck in my room, watching podcasts myself, and it's real fun. I really like it. Watching the podcasts, and just Joe Rogan, The Fighter and the Kid, King the Sting, Brendan Schaub, Theo Von, all these Los Angeles comedians and stuff. It's quite fun. Yeah, so I just that's what I've been up to. I've been up to nothing. This coronavirus has happened, and there's my life, and I'm up to nothing because I finished a job, and I'm about to be a student, and I had like 8 months of nothing anyway. So this coronavirus, where everybody's like doing nothing and getting bored, like feel my pain. Peter, you can get on job seekers allowance and get a job. Oh, now I can't go to the job seekers allowance and try and get furlough. You can't apply for furlough. Yeah, look at my CV. I'm really good at sitting at home and getting 80% pay for doing absolutely nothing. So yeah, it's just different situations. So I was stuck doing nothing anyway, just at home, and then the coronavirus happened, and I'm stuck doing nothing at home, with some bad stuff happening. But I made the decision, sort of naturally happened anyway. I don't watch the news because it's just bad news. Haven't watched the news for a month. I watched it full on for 2 weeks, and it's just way too much. Like, another 100 people have died. So it's not the best. It's not the best. It's just bizarre. It's just why do I need to hear about statistics? I know that 3 people die every second, and now maybe 3.5 people die every second or something. Probably not even that, but just where's it's all this bad news. It's just blown out of proportion. It's just what about the news about the people starving in Africa? Why doesn't that bombard us every day? And what about there's so many bad things happening, and there's still more people dying of other things than of the coronavirus worldwide. Maybe not in this country. I don't know. It's just bizarre. It's almost as if people, I don't know, it's just blown out of proportion. Whatever the world is like, I just need to think. I do know. Yeah, it's just the world. Just I don't know. Just the world's just blown out of proportion. It's just coronavirus, and we're all stuck inside. And maybe we should be stuck inside. Maybe it is the best thing that we should be doing, and maybe I should be wearing a mask during this. It's the cheek of calling this a podcast. The cheek, like you watch people on elsewhere on YouTube, and they've got microphone setups. They've got different cameras, camera A, camera B, switching between the cameras. They've got everything lined up. They've got some sort of script to go along. They've got advertising like inappropriate products as they ever do. Like it's just and it's just me talking in my room, and then I equate that to the same thing as a podcast. It's just you can call it a podcast because what else is it? It's a podcast. It's the Peter Repeater, and it's just I talk sometimes, and with my family I talk about the same things all the time, and I'm actually finding that I'm talking to my family less about the repetitive Peter stuff, hence Peter Repeater, because I've got this outlet now. I can just talk online, talk to I shouldn't say you guys because that implies audience, but I've got this camera, I've got this laptop, everything's all working together, and I've got this medium to talk about stuff. And then I often, this is what I often say, I've started to realise it, like I sound like a broken record. Like I talk about like similar things so often, and I just the Peter Repeater, but it's just that's my life. I just like I was talking about my job, not liking my job, and then Sunday was like I can't look forward. I was just Monday tomorrow. It's just in tears, and it was a bit sad, really. It was tough, and I just talked about work and how many months I've got left, and all these businesses, and I just talked about work, and then that's like a year of talking about that with my family, and I said, I sound like a broken record, and they're like, yeah, you do, chicka chicka fresh, not like a DJ, but just sort of like on repeat. So yeah, there's just Peter repeating all the time, and so I talked about my work, not liking the work, and then the next thing I talked about was recently I've been talking about my book because I wrote a book, a leaflet, short book, and I've published that. An Unbelievable God by Peter Newing, Newing. So that's on Amazon, and I've got I did put an effort into that, so I should be happy about it. And then I'm doing this, and then I get so happy when somebody reads my book or buys my book, and it's just quite a nice experience. So I'm happy with that. So that's what I've been talking about. I've been talking about my work. That was difficult. Talking about my book, and then also talking about stuff, and you know how it goes. talking about stuff, and yeah, sometimes I get stuck in that sort of line of thought for hours. So yeah, it's just talk about my book now. That's all I ever talk about now. It's like someone bought my book. It's great. And then people read my book. I don't know. It's early days. I just published it, but if people read my book, then people like my book. Some of my books about God and like the particulars of existing and whether it exists and what it all means. And I was reading, I was writing it, and every time I wrote something, I was like, "Oh, that's good. That's really good." But then I was trying to do 1,000 words a day. I did that for like 4 weeks, and every day I was like, "Oh no, it started again. I've got to start from scratch." It was difficult. I had to start from scratch and just write the book again, and then I would look at my philosophy and ethics book from school and try and get some ideas, and then I would, cup of tea's empty, yeah, and then I'd get some ideas, and then I'd write it down, and then after you'd get an idea, you'd write it, and then you'd be stuck at a blank page for like 10 minutes and you couldn't think of anything to write. So hence why the book is short. And then I did write some stuff sometimes and I'd be like, "Oh, that's really good." And I'm looking forward to reading the book a third time. Yeah, it's short. So first time I read it, I got annoyed because there was loads of mistakes. Second time I read it, I corrected all the mistakes. So I'm waiting for the book, the paperback to... This is me talking about the book. Chugga chugga. Broken record. Anyway, so it's just talking about the book, and yeah, it's going to write a paperback, and then I'm going to read the actual book, and it's going to be nice, it's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. So it's tough to find contentment and happiness and variety in life and day-to-day life. I was doing 2 podcasts a day, but I realised that I had I'm struggling to have a life outside the podcast. Not that I do have a life outside the podcast in the big scheme of things, but just having that evening where you can relax and focus on just like interesting topics and different conversations, and because just doing a podcast in the evening, you don't give yourself breathing room. So what have I learned in the last 24 hours since my last podcast? It is a podcast. We'll nip that in the bud right now. It's official. I've it's official. It's a podcast. It's up and running. I've got a camera. I'm talking about stuff. I haven't got the studio environment. It's not a professional situation, but it's it's the best. It's the best I have available. So one day I forget what I was talking about. Yeah, so just doing 2 podcasts a day was too much. So I was thinking, what have I learned in the last 24 hours? I have got enough hair on my face to stroke my cheeks and feel a hair or 2. That's life at its fullest. Corona times. So the podcast, 24 hours of watching podcasts since making a podcast. I do other things in my life probably. What have I learned? Listen, be on this point for 2 minutes. Listen to this podcast. Russell Brand, Under the Skin, on Luminary, and I like advertising big people. I'm giving shout outs to big channels and people that don't need shout outs. But Russell Brand, Under the Skin, on Luminary, and he did a latest one with Ricky Gervais, and it was amazing. It was God versus atheism, right up my alley. And like Russell Brand, he's like a recovering addict, and is into spirituality. I'll say that again. He's into spirituality, and got a bit of runny nose, corona times and that. Yeah, spirituality. I can't say it with my blocked nose. Spirituality. Yeah, so he's into that, and I've tried to say it again. So he's into being spiritual, and Russell Brand that's why I like him. He's trying to change the world, find different ways of living, and then what is it? and then Ricky Gervais is less so. So he's atheist. Yeah. So he was talking about God and atheism, and it was the debate about that. And Ricky was saying, I call him Ricky, of course. He was saying how there's no need for anything there to be a God because oh, what is that? Oh, this is bad. I got to turn off my microphone. Sorry, I'm better now. Right, you didn't. That was disgusting. Right, yeah. So block nose and all that. Okay, so Ricky Gervais he's saying nature is super enough in itself, and it's just you don't need there to be a God. You ask who created the world? God. Who created God? Does something come from nothing? Where did God come from? And nowhere. And exactly, that's the universe. Didn't come from anything. So you could liken God to the universe, and you can compare and contrast the two. Okay, so I had about a 5-minute period of my podcast. We're getting there. The production level is slowly and surely creeping up on us, and obviously one day I'll have producers and everything will be set up properly, and we won't have a period of our podcast which lasts 5 minutes, which I can't say spirituality because I've got phlegm in the back of my throat for a good 5 minutes there. but moving on, it's just so there's all that to contend with, and there's lots to consider, and I should look into the camera. Listen to the Russell Brand podcast. That was good. Listening to Joe Rogan, watching Joe Rogan rather. He does a video. I wish Russell Brand released his whole video. He just releases some of it and then expects you to cough up the fee of luminary, not the phlegm. But yeah, it's just a different experience, really. Podcasting, it's just entertainment. It's like it's perfectly tailor-made for my brain that I can just listen to a conversation and not talk. It's like being around the popular kids. It is. It's just like a deep yearning for just interesting conversation topics, and you don't have to talk and you don't have to think of anything to say. Unlike this situation, episode 38, excuse me, you like listening to podcasts and you like having nothing to say, episode 38 of the Peter Repeater. What am I doing in my life? What I'm doing is I'm diversifying my career. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to set up situations where I've got different routes of things I could do. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be not a YouTuber, not an author, but a national treasure. Yeah, it's just like Ricky Gervais, just a figure in the public that has a bow with lots of things, lots of strings to the bow. I don't know what a string is, but is it the feather bit? No, it's the lots of is it the thing you pull back, the string? I don't know. Yeah, so trying to. I don't want to work in an office ever again. That's crying on a Sunday before the working week. I don't I don't want that to ever happen again. So I'm trying my hardest to just have something else to do. That's what I'm trying to do. If it takes me 3 years of living at home during the coronavirus, or doing it as a side gig along being a student or something, or the world can just intervene and give me I don't know, just some sort of career like Joe Rogan or something. This is not me trying to seek fame, because I actually find it a little bit anxious, the thought that people are watching me. Like, it's okay just talking to a camera, live streaming the thing, like that's okay. But when you look at the numbers and you consider, oh yeah, that person's watching me, or I know for sure that my dad's watching me upstairs, when I when I know that for sure, it's a little bit anxiety inducing. So as long as it's just me and the camera talking to the YouTube, as long as we've got that all sorted out, then I don't need to weigh myself down with the numbers. So I fame is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an avenue of work. So I want to have guests on the podcast. I want to be talking to famous people, well, other podcast people, and just talking with each other, and just having a bit of fun. That's what I want. So and so I can do that instead of working in an office, and that's what I want. And I'm 22, and it's possible. So I'm trying. So I've got however many months of no work, no studying. I'm going to try and build a podcast. It's not going to happen. It will. It has to. The office. I don't know if you've done this. Working in office. I don't know if it's just work in general. I don't know if my personality type, just about my psyche, I don't know, my person, who I am, I don't know if it can cope with the with the office work. It's just hard. I hate being stuck in the office and thinking I've got to keep them going until 5 o'clock. It's just so bad. And then you think, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm really tired. I don't want to do this podcasting. No. I do want to do this podcasting. This isn't office work. This is my new life now. I'm in the office and it's 10 o'clock and I'm tired and it's Monday. I've got 4 more days of this and I've got 7 hours to do and it's just too much and don't like this. And just like the worst moments of my life is just when I've got an 8-hour day and I just walk out of the house and I'm like, my life is terrible. It's just what I'm thinking, and it's the morning. Life shouldn't be like that. So Tears on a Sunday. That could be my podcast title. But anyway, it's just tough. So I can't do that office job again, even though I've got office experience now and I've got qualifications so I can work in an office, and I'm about to get a degree so I can work in an office, and my life is all, going well. I've got the ability to earn money, have a mortgage, be bored. Don't want to do that. I don't want to set myself up for 40 years of boredom. Can't do it. We need a world. We need to actually do stuff we like. I've heard people talk about this. We need to do stuff we like, and we need to figure out how to do it. I'll try it. Corona. Don't touch your face. Don't put your finger in your mouth. Simple. World Health Organization. You eat a bag of crisps before the podcast, and you just need to, breathe in the phlegm. Don't make that horrible sound, and you just need to not put your finger because you've got crisps in your mouth. We need to find a new way of life, and it's just not the best. So what's not the best? Yeah, just my personal habits. Don't touch your face, Corona. I'm looking over there because there's my screen number 1, screen number 2, screen number 3, checking it's working. You know, I've got this podcast. It is a little bit of a studio setup. Like, it is a little bit. I can't call it a professional because it's not earning money, but it is a little bit, you know, modernized. I don't know. Elaborate, just density, just it's professional. It's a good setup. I've got my, you know, you just your average Joe, try live streaming. There's a lot of things going on. Just try it, you know. Just it's complicated. I had to order a cable off Amazon to start this. I had all the equipment, missing one cable. I had said cable arrived in the post. I love using said, makes me sound like a right genius. That's the level of my intellect there. It's just said cable arrived in the post, if I say it enough. Said cable. And it's Peter Repeater. Yeah, the cable arrives in the post, and then I plug it in. Boom, live stream up and running. It's a bit more complicated than that. It takes 5 minutes to set up this live stream setup. But that's because I've got it all in place. I've got a tripod with a camera permanently set up in my room, and all the cables are already plugged in. And there's little technical difficulties that I need to, you know, unplug, deactivate, activate, and then I do a test. I go testing, 1, 2, 3, and then I watch that. I've got 4 screens around, 3 screens. I've got the camera to look at. If I look at the camera, it's better, but I've got so much going on. Yeah, professional that doesn't look at the camera. There we go. So. Yeah, it's just episode 38, eh? About, I don't know, 15, 20 episodes we'll talk about the coronavirus. Not that this is any better, but at least I'm talking about the coronavirus. And I was just mentioned it, life as a coronavirus, which is pretty much exactly the same as my life anyway, because you know, just what is the real physical difference between unemployment and having a job and staying inside because of the coronavirus? The physical difference is non-existent. The furlough, that's a fancy word. That's not a problem. And I'm real lucky in some ways. Obviously, you know, it's nice to be healthy, to be happy, to have the internet. It's all good. You know, it's a good situation to be in. Life isn't perfect. You know, you think you want something. You think you want clean duvet. You think you want better night's sleep. But when it all happens, when you get exactly what you want, and you wake up and you're happy, stuff still sucks sometimes. And today my friend asked me, how you doing? And I was like, well, you know, I'm not good. So I won't say good. So that leaves 2 words at my disposal. I've got fine and okay. And I thought I'll go for fine, because that's what I'm going for here. Yeah, so I was just doing that really, and we hope that we can elaborate on life and make the most out of existence. Yeah, something really interesting is trying to find meaning in life. and obviously as a born again, because I was born once, and then I was born a day later, when I found Jesus. Born again Christian. It was a whole technical difficulty at the scene of the birth, but it was just a born again Christian type situation. So yeah, I've been a Christian ever since I was born, the day after. Yeah. Now, what am I saying? Having meaning in life, so that helps. Christian and God, and definitely waking up in time for the church service that I missed. And there's lots of things going on all at the same time, but I had to look at the camera. It's unavoidable, but I've got so much going on in my room. Anyway, I'm going for a walk. There's that. There is that. Going for a walk, and we're going to have a good time. And you wonder, what is he going to talk about tomorrow? I don't know. I've got to make my life interesting, eh? Try and fill my mind with something interesting to watch. Try not to talk about my work or my book. I'm very tempted just to plug my book in there. But, you know, I'll leave that to the end. Yeah, it's just, I noticed when some people, when they write a book and they're on the podcast, they just keep on mentioning their book. They can't help it. It's like, get over yourself. But here I am, mentioning my book. Short book, leaflet, whatever you call it. It's on the Kindle, it's on we won't get into the technicalities. I look at the camera 10% of the time. Never mind. I just said that and I looked at my phone. Okay, so let's think of something happy, something, finding meaning in your life is just, it's a difficulty. It's hard, particularly hard at the moment when stuck inside, furlough, unemployment, whatever you think is best. Yeah, but it's a technical difficulty, really. Life's difficult. Yeah, just finding meaning. Just you can think, well, if we're gonna die. Obviously there's heaven and stuff, so obviously you still got life to live, and heaven is definitely there. I can count on heaven. I can count on dying and rotting away in a grave, or getting cremated and still having a consciousness. Like when my brain switches off and I stop breathing, and they say time of death too soon, and they just go through all the technicalities. Yeah, his brain function's not working, his eyes aren't open, he hasn't got the reflux situation, and he hasn't got everything to consider, and there's all these different things going on, and it's just there's definitely heaven. Consciousness continues, so is that to look forward to. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. We'll consider all the things. We'll get a consideration box, and we'll put all the things that we consider. Oh dear, I just touched my microphone. Sorry. And you just I've got a microphone. Professional. It's just out of camera. So I tried to get it in camera, but it just wasn't as good. Yeah, so just consider all the things. We get a Tupperware box, get some tin foil, get some salt on that, and we just fill it up with half salt, half sugar. Then we eat that salty sugar, obviously with a bit of Huel. Yeah, I've said too much on that. But we shove everything in, and then we empty the Tupperware box, and then we just get a cup. And with that cup, we just smash an egg, get back the Tupperware box, and then put all our considerations in the saucepan, and then we boil it, simmer it for 20 minutes. and then we drink the carrot juice that we had the previous day from the fridge, and with that Tupperware box we try and eat the plastic, realise it's not edible, make sure it's dishwasher safe, smash it with a hammer. We're going how to basic on this scene here, but yeah, put the considerations in the consideration box, and just try and keep on keeping on. Yep. Yes, there you go. Life's interesting till it's not, sort of thing, and we're getting there. Yeah. Bit by bit, video by video, we're getting there. We're gonna break free. We're gonna do something we actually like, and it's gonna work. Definitely gonna work. I've got something in my mind of me talking to Joe Rogan, and it's just definitely going to happen, and I feel like I'm going to be saying it until I give up on the dream, or it's just going to happen and it'll be great, and it's just going to be awesome. Just can't wait. What are we going to talk about? Talk about pooing ourselves. Like yesterday, we're going to talk about just all sorts. There's a whole range of topics. God, and I'll probably just talk about God because that'll be my book, and I'll obviously be promoting my book yet again, and it'll be a bit of fun. I've got to walk. Yeah. So just got all those things to consider in the consideration box. Got that to contend with. Try and look at the camera. It's hard. It's hard. Maybe it's just not possible. Maybe it's not possible. Like, it's just a camera. You know, I just want to talk about other stuff. You know, look at other stuff. Anyway, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. At least the audio is synced up with my face. At least there's that. Doesn't always happen, but yeah, I'm pretty happy about the whole situation. So we just keep on moving on. Try and have an interesting day. Try and have something. No, it's not all about having something interesting to talk about. Sometimes it's okay to talk about rubbish. Just save it. Just offload the rubbish on the internet for everyone to watch, to waste their time with. Just offload it all and then relax and not burden the people I spend my time with. I will talk about my book today because somebody bought it this morning. It's very exciting. They're going to read it and it's going to be great. I mean, talk about my book ever since I started writing the book, and then I wrote my book, and then I'm talking about the book. Peter Repeater here. Okay, I'll do my outro. We'll see what's happening on the Twitter. Do what's happening on the Twitter, and okay, I've done well. So a bit of a longer episode today. Lost track of time. Thank you for watching. I'll be here tomorrow, hopefully, live in the afternoon. So, Instagram at Peter Newing, surname Newing. Twitter at the Pete Repeater, and my book, An Unbelievable God, by Peter Newing. Buy it, read it, review it, or just not bother. But there you go. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.